Hello students, my name is Kumari Shetty. I am an assistant professor in Department of Management and Commerce, Mewar University. Today we are going to complete lecture 4 on subject industries relation and labor enactment. We already completed the lecture 3, topics related with characteristics, role of industrial relations. We already completed the evolution of labor relation is already completed. In today's topic as well as objective is also completed in lecture 3. In today's lecture, we are going to cover about the industrial disputes as well as what are the various parties which is involved in the industrial relations. So let's begin. So first of all, I want to tell you all that the parties to the industrial relations there are three parties. We all know that industrial relations are the outcome of the employment relationship in the industry, right? So we can say that there are three parties to the industrial relation. One is workers and their organization, employees and the organization, and the last one is government. So, if we are talking about the workers and their organization, the personal characteristics, personal feature of the workers, their cultural, educational attainment, their qualification skill, attitude toward the works play an important role in the industrial relation. Worker organization, known as the trade union, are the political institution. Trade union form the safeguard to the economic and social interest of the workers. So they put pressure on the management for achievement of these objectives. So this is the first party of the industrial relation. Second one is employers and their organization. So the employees are very important, a variable in the industrial relation. They provide employment to workers, try to regulate their behavior for getting the high productivity, motivating the employees in the organization, as well as they have also working for the industrial unrest arises due to the employers' demand from the workers are very high. They offer low economic and very less benefits. In order to increase the bargaining power, the employers in several industries have organized the employees association. So what is the basic reason? The basic reason is obviously to safeguard the interest of the workers. They also participate in the tripartite bodies and constituting by the government to regulate the industrial relation. If we are talking about if we are talking about the next party, and that is government, so the government exerts an important influence on the industrial relation. Though such measures as providing employment, intervening in the working environment and the working relationship, regulating the wages, bonuses, introducing the various acts, work on the working condition. So all these law related with the labors are enacted by definitely by the government. So the government keep eye on both the trade unions and the employers and organization to regulate the behavior in the interest of the nation. So this is all about the parties to the industrial relation. So I guess this topic, this point is clear to all of you. Let's move toward the next one. Next topic is about the dominant aspects of the industrial relations. So the various dominant aspect of the industrial relation, there are two aspects, that is cooperation and conflicts. Let's discuss about this. We all know what is the meaning of cooperation. So in the modern industrial production, it is based upon the cooperation between the labor and capital. Labor stand for the workers who are working in the factories, mines, and other industrial establishment of services. Capital, if we'll say, capital stand for the owners of the business enterprises who supply the capital and own the final products. Right? So the cooperation between the two is one of the basic requirement for the smooth functioning of modern industries and growth of the industrialization. This needs to be further elaborated as it is clear that the large factories and the other business establishment cannot run successfully unless there is a close cooperation between the labor and the capital. The very fact that the present industrial organization and economic structure has been able to turn out the quantity of goods and services unprecedented in the history of mankind is an index to extend the cooperation between the two. Cooperation is a very normal feature of the industrial relation. However, the cooperation flows from the pursuit of the self-interest, both by the owners of the capital and the owners of the labor power. That is the workers. Obviously, the labor power is the workers. So the owners of business enterprises offer the employment, wages, and other amenities of life to the workers. So the worker in their turn offer their services, definitely. Thus, there is a fair degree of give and take and the serving for the mutual interest, which is based on the cooperation between the two, labor and the capital. But the cooperation is in a minimal degree and is nothing more than the mere coming together of labor and capital, of union and management. It devoid of any voluntary choice and regard for the other as a partner. So it is very important there should be a cooperation between the capital and the labor. If we are talking about the second aspect or second dominant aspect of the industrial relation, that is conflicts. So the second aspect of the system industrial relation obtaining today is the existence of conflict. So conflict is like the cooperation. It is inherent the industrial relation setup of today. It becomes apparent their industrial we can say it is industrial, it is like it inherent the industrial relation setup of today. It becomes apparent the industrial dispute resulting in the strike and lockout. So we can see that the conflict arises, the negative impact is going on to be basically it affect the overall the industrial situation. So the prevailing industrial unrest and the frequency of work stoppages resulting either how from the strikes or the lockouts, which is slowing down the production, are the occasional expressions of ever present conflict between the workers and management. So in the daily newspaper, we are seeing there are multiple news related with the industrial conflict, the maintenance of elaborating of machinery by the state, prevention and the settlement of industrial dispute flowing from the industrial conflict that is an indicator of extent and depth. So in the case of physical health, we can pay the attention so long as it is we were healthy. Similarly, so long as the industry peace prevails and production of goods and services continue uninterrupted, there will be a talk of cooperation among the labor and management. So the work stoppage caused the huge loss for the organization, and it can be basically showing the bad situation of the industries. So this is the two dominant aspect of the industrial relation. Let's move toward the next topic or next point, that is definition of industrial dispute. So before starting this point, let's understand that what is. So we can say that the industrial dispute is defined as a conflict which can be arises due to differences in the opinion between the management and workers regarding the employment. So every person have their own thinking, their own choice, their own power, their own mentality, right? So we can say that the industrial dispute is basically arises or it can be started due to different opinion in thinking of management and workers in the employment. So the disagreement between the employers and employee or the representative like trade union, this can be happened like it is arising the industrial dispute. It can be any of the reason like the less wages, right, or the bad working conditions. So these things are arising the industrial disputes, right? So in industrial dispute, what is happening that both parties, like whoever is there in this dispute, both parties are always pressurizing each other for agreeing on their terms and condition. And we can say the industrial unrest was arises like the strikes, lockouts, picketing, and indiscipline part of the workers are can be seen, right? So if we are talking about the definition, if we are talking about the definition, it is basically, we can say, according to the Industrial Dispute Act 1947, under Section 2, Clause K, industrial dispute means any dispute or differences between the employers or employee, between employers and workmen, or between the workmen and workmen, which can be connected with the employment or the non-employment or with the condition of labor of any person. So we can say the terms, conditions, and the mentality is the reason for basically the industrial dispute, or the situation which is not at all good for one party. It also basically uh, they are pressurized to do the industrial dispute. So for the own right, sometime we can say there can be industrial disputes, and the parties who are available, they are always pressurizing each other. If we are talking about the next, what are the various characteristics of the industrial dispute? So there can be first one, party. So industrial dispute can be arises between various parties. Ordinarily, if we'll say, it can be between the employers and workman and workman. So there can be any of the parties there who is available in the organization. There can be dispute arises. So employers and employers, workman, employers, workman, right? And matter of dispute can be may relate to the workers or employer, or to both. Normally it relate with the appointment or termination of person, condition of employment, condition of work, wages. So we can say there are multiple reasons for that. So in the second point, which I already actually covered it in the parties, so in relation the same thing is like reasons. What are the various reasons? So reasons can be any of the thing: wages problem, working environment, appointment. All those are the reasons or relations of the basically the industrial dispute. If we are talking about the forms, there are various forms which is showing that there is an industrial dispute which is going on, like lockout, strikes, pen down strike, tactics. Next one is oral or written. So industrial dispute can need not to be written, it can maybe the oral, right? uh, Next one is real. It should be real, it should be related with the employment of the workers, termination of employment, terms of employment, condition of employment, matter relating with the personal life of the workers. So there can be any possibility, so it can be real. Substantial interest. So in matter relating to the industrial dispute, interest either of employer or the workers must be involved. Related to industry, if we'll talk, so dispute can be included in industrial dispute when it concerned with the industry. Usually dispute must belong to an industry which is functioning. Dispute belonging to any industry that has closed should not be included in it. So any industry which is sick or it is closed, it is not related with that. Next one is clarification. So industrial dispute should relate to matters which are clear. Unless it is not, it is a transparent case, its settlement is not possible. Matters which are clear find the settlement easily. So the concerned party can protect its interest when the issue is crystal clear. So origin. So ordinarily dispute arises when the workers or trade unions put up their demand before the employers and the latter refuse to consider them. So in short, it can be said that the industrial dispute means lack of peace in the industry. When in an industry, requirement of the two parties contradict with each other, and the industrial dispute raises its ugly head, right? So I guess the characteristics of industrial dispute is clear to all of you. Let's move toward the next point, that is different types of industrial disputes. So let's begin with the first type of dispute, that is interest dispute. So this type of dispute is also known as conflict of interest or economic dispute. Such disputes relate to the establishment of new terms, conditions for the employment, right? For the general body, like in any of the industry, when the new condition, new situation was arises, right? So that affected the masses. If new machinery came, obviously it is affect the whole mass, because what machinery we were earlier working, now in what machinery we have to work, there will be a question mark that how to work, right? So generally such type of disputes originate from trade union demand or proposals for increase the wages, emoluments, or fringe benefits, job securities, or other type terms of the employment. So these demands are put forth by the trade union in view to negotiate through the collective bargaining and dispute. When the parties fail in their negotiation to reach an agreement, then the terms of conflict of interest and the economic disputes was basically started. So we can say that the term conflict of interest and economic dispute refers to the nature of issued result, right? So there are no set principles to arrive at settlement of interest dispute. So what can be done like that is bargaining power, compromises. So sometimes test of economic strength of the parties arrive at the agreed solution. So such dispute are solved generally on give and take basis, right? Next one is dispute over unfair labor practices. So such disputes arrive arise over the malpractices adopted by the management against the workers or the trade union. So example can be the discrimination between the workers, right? For being members of the trade union or because of involvement in the union activities, interference, restraint, or coercion of the employees from exercising their right to organize, join, or assist a union. Establishment of employer-sponsored union coerce the workers to join such union. So these are the basically reason. Recruitment new employees during a strike which is not declared illegal, failure to implement an award, settlement or agreement, indulging in the acts of violence. So these are basically known as trade union victimization, we can say. So in some country, procedure of settling or given to settle such dispute. In absence of such procedure, the dispute can be settled according to the provisions which is made in the for the labor relations, right? So we can say that in short, in this type of dispute, when there is unfair labor practices like discrimination is happening or the illegal activities are happening which is against the workers, so this type of dispute is this. Next, if we are talking about that is grievances or right disputes. So these disputes are known as the conflicts of right or the legal dispute. They involve individual workers or a group of workers in the same group. In some countries, disputes are called individual disputes. So such disputes arises from the day-to-day working relations or workers and management, usually as a protest by the workers or workers against an act of management that is considered as the violate his or her or their legitimate right. So grievances, what kind of grievances I'm talking about? That is discipline, promotion, transfer, dismissal of the workers, payment of wages, fringe benefits, overtime, retirement benefits, seniority work rules, leave rules, which are against the practice and affect their rights adversely. In some cases, dispute arises especially over the interpretation and the application of collective agreement. So this is the third type of industrial dispute. Next one is recognition dispute. So such kind of disputes arises when the management refuse to recognize a trade union for purpose of collective bargaining. So issues under this category is different according to the cause that led the management to refuse the recognition. So the problem, the main issue and the problem in the recognition dispute is attitude, right? So management refuse may be ground that the union requesting for the recognition does not represent any specific number of workers. In this case, resolution of issue depends upon the rules of recognition, right? That it exists or not. So these are the basically type of dispute. So recognition dispute in one line, if I'll say that the problem is attitude when the management is not giving value to the trade union basically, right? In the second point, if we'll talk grievances or right dispute, here it is about the conflict of rights or legal disputes, like the workers are, they have multiple grievances like discipline, promotion, transfer, etc. If we are talking about dispute over the unfair labor practices like illegal activities, discrimination, racism, all these things are going on in the industries. And the first one is interest dispute when the both parties have their own interest for doing the job and there is a disagreement which is happening during the during the whole work in the organization or the going on work in the organization, right? So we can say these are the various type of dispute. Hope you all enjoyed this lesson. We will cover the other topic in the next lecture. Thank you so much.